Welcome back to Cabin example. We are going to continue our SolidWorks series. This is example number 8. And here we have our part that we are going to model. So you can pause the video right here, analyze the drawing, then let's jump into SolidWorks and get this done. Now that we have SolidWorks open, let's begin. Let's navigate to our front plane, create a new sketch, and let's go to sketch and let's choose a center rectangle. Let's click on origin and let's key in our values. So this is 30 millimeters by 94 millimeters, and let's go to features, extrude, and let's extrude this 9 millimeters coming forward. With this done, let's click on this face, create sketch, and let's go to our slot, straight slot, and let's click on this point and let's go upwards. Let's click here and we can end this anywhere across there. Let's go to our dimension. Let's make this 16 millimeters in radius, and from here to the top of our first extrude, let's make this 22 millimeters, and our sketch is fully defined. Let's go to features, I'll go to isometric, and I will extrude this in the opposite direction. So let's click the opposite direction and give this a thickness of 12 millimeters. And that's it for that particular extrusion. Let's click on this face. Let's create a sketch. Let's go to our corner rectangle. Let's click on this point. Let's make the height 30 millimeters and let's make the width 28 millimeters. Let's go to circle. Let's draw a circle anywhere here. Let's give that a diameter of 32 millimeters, and let's draw a line from here to here and one from anywhere here to here. Let's select these two entities, this line and the circle. Let's make them tangent. Okay, and let's repeat the process for the top line and the circle. Okay, let's click here. Let's click this point. Let's give that a horizontal relation. Okay, and let's now trim our lines. So let's trim that, and let's trim that. Okay, now let's add a dimension in the center for a circle to the origin, and let's make that 62 millimeters. Okay, now our sketch is fully defined. Let's go to features, isometric, and let's extrude this. So let's go to selected contours. Let's extrude this, 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 and this. Let's go in the opposite direction, and that should be 10 millimeters. And let's click OK. So now let's select this boss extrude that we now created, and let's go to mirror, and we need to select a mirror plane. So let's go to our part default, and let's choose the right plane and click OK, and we have created our extrusion and mirrored it to the opposite side. Now let's create a plane, and let's create it from this face. So let's click on that face, let's go to reference geometry, plane, and I want this in the opposite direction, so I'll click flip offset, and the distance from here, the offset distance is 28 millimeters, and let's click OK. Now let's click on this plane and sketch. I don't want to draw it from this view. My normal tool is set to automatic, that's why it went in that direction. I don't always go in the direction that I need. So therefore I'll click on this face and then click normal tool. So we'll draw from this view. So I'll go to circle. I'm going to create a circle here, and I'm going to give it a diameter of 32 millimeters, and I'm going to draw few lines. So I'm going to draw a line from here to here. I'm going to end it here, and then I'm going to draw another one from here to here. So let's make sure these are tangent. So you can see if we select these, see they are tangent. This is tangent as well, but I need this to be a vertical line, so I'll make that vertical, and I need to give this a dimension from here to here, which is 65 millimeters. Okay, and also we need to do some trimming, so let's trim this out, and we also need to make this from this point to this point, we need that to be 12 millimeters. Okay, and select these two entities and make them tangent. Okay, and let's trim out this portion of the circle, and now this is fully defined, and let's extrude this 10 millimeters. So extrude, and let's extrude this 10 millimeters going towards this face. Okay, and now we can turn off our plane. Let's select this face, let's create a sketch on that face. Let's go to our corner rectangle, and let's create a sketch from this point to the inside, so that will be approximately 84 millimeters. So let's just key in 12 for the height, and let's select that point. Okay, so now let's go to extrude, and we should be able to extrude this, and let's make it up the surface, and let's click on this surface, and let's click OK. Nice, beautiful. So we have completed that extrusion. Now let's create another plane. So we're going to create a plane from this face as well. So let's go to plane, and want to select this face, and we want that to be 5 millimeters. Okay, now let's select this plane, let's create a sketch, and let's go to convert entities. Let's select this arc, and okay, let's select this line, well, the same arc that we now converted. Let's make it a construction line. Let's go to circle. Let's draw a circle from this point to the line that our arc that we now created. Okay, and let's extrude that. Let's go to features and extrude that in the opposite direction, 50 millimeters. And that's it for that extrusion. Now I'm going to come to my view. I'm going to take off ambient occlusion because I realized our sketch was a little bit dark. Now let's create another plane. Before we do that, let's take off this one and let's go to the right plane, and let's go to reference geometry plane, and let's offset this 54 millimeters. Okay, why 54? If we go to our drawing, we have 108. 108 divided by 2 is 54. So this is the center. So the plane goes from here to here, 54 millimeters, and we have 68 millimeters here. Half of 68 is 34. So from here to here is 34. From here to the outside is 54. 54 minus 34 gives us 20. So this point and this point is 20 millimeters apart. Now let's go back to our drawing with our model, and let's click on this plane that we now created, and let's create a sketch. We already have this from a previous sketch, so we can select that, convert entities. We can select the newly converted entity, construction, and now we can simply draw our new circle, and I'll go to isometric, and I'll go to features, extrude, and I'll go in the opposite direction and extrude that 20 millimeters. Okay, now I will turn off that newly created plane, and I will click on my new boss extrude, and I'll go to mirror, and let us now select a plane to mirror. Let's go to our part default, and let's choose the right plane and click OK. Okay, let's go to this face. Let's create a sketch, and let's go to corner rectangle, and let's create a sketch from here. You can bring it down to anywhere there, that's okay. And let's take this out. Let's delete that line. Let's select this circle and convert entities. Okay, yeah, that's good. So I'll go back to normal too, and let's now give this some dimensions. From this point to this point, that's 11 millimeters, and the distance apart is 10 millimeters. Okay, and let us go to trim, And let's just clean this up. Okay, and I'll go to isometric. I'll go back in this direction. Yeah, that's good. And let's go to features, extrude, and let's go up to surface, and let's click on this surface, and okay. Now let's create some holes. So I'll do zoom to fit, and let's go to our hole wizard. Let's choose hole. Okay, I'm using the NSI metric. Maybe you're using ISO, it doesn't really matter, but make sure you go to double holes. And I'm going to start with 20 millimeters diameter, and up to next is fine for this drawing. And let us go to position, select 3D sketch, and let's just simply touch the top of the circle, and we have a center point. So that's one. Let's rotate, touch the top of our circle here, and we get a center point. Let's rotate, repeat the process, touch here, center point, and that's okay. So let's click OK, and we created our first set of holes. And let's continue the process. So let's repeat. You can hit enter to repeat command, and we want double holes. This time we need 10 millimeters. So up to next is fine. Let's go to position, 3D sketch. Let's rotate this and click the top here, and let's drop this in the center. Let's carefully repeat the process here and drop this in the center. Let's rotate again, and okay. And that's it for our holes. Now let's create some fillets. So let's go to fillet, and let's start with 10 millimeters, and the 10 millimeters are here and here. So that's it for the 10 millimeter fillets. And we also need to create some 3 millimeters fillets. Most of them are 3 millimeters, so that's okay. And the 3 millimeters are here, the inside here, the opposite side, and we also need that to be inside here, here, this point, that here, and here as well, and also here, and as well as this top portion. And okay, now let's apply some material to this, well, on the surface. But before we do that, we need another fillet. So let's go back to fillet, and we also need a fillet inside here, but that one is 6 millimeters. Okay, so I'll go to zoom to fit, isometric. I'll do diametric instead. Now let's apply some material to this surface. So let's go to solid bodies, appearance. Let's go to low gloss. Well, rather than low gloss, let's go to textured, and you can select any one of these. I'll go with PW 40, and I'll change the RGB to 235, 175, and I'll accept that. That's it for this tutorial. You can also go ahead and play around with the different backdrop. That's it. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.